We've seen a few techniques in terms of applying CSS rules to our table content, but I thought it would be a lot of fun to give you something much more practical, much more real world, a bit of a hands-on project, if you will, for formatting some more real world table content. So what I'm going to have you do here is basically get rid of everything that we've been working on. So all of the internal rules that we've been discussing and messing around with, select all those guys and get rid of them, if you would. Now, you know what? If you're in a situation where you don't want to get rid of them, maybe you want to hang on to your code for future reference, instead, just save your file under a different file name. Just choose File, Save As, and name it Chapter 5 or, something like that. So I've gotten rid of my rules there inside the internal style sheet. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all of the table code that you and I have been messing around with up until this point. So go ahead and get rid of that code there as well. Okay, wonderful. Now I'm just going to go and hide my code for a second, and I'm going to drill all the way down to my desktop, and I'm going to go into my project files folder where we find a file called table1.html. And this file contains the code for the table that I want to show you how to format. So what I'll have you do is open this file up inside your coding application. Again, for myself, it's going to be Coda. Go ahead and open up this file inside your code editor. And there we go. There's all of our table code that we can see there inside this file. What I'm going to have you do is select all of the code, Control Command A, and then copy it, Control Command C, and then you can close out of this file. And then what we'll do is we will paste this table code back into our documents. You can go and find a spot somewhere inside your file, and if you would, go ahead and paste in this content. There we go, something like that. So as you can see, it's just a plain vanilla table. There isn't really a whole lot happening here. If you want to see what it actually looks like inside your browser, go ahead and save and refresh your browser. There we go. Just content. There's no formatting on this raw structure. Not yet, anyway. Again, the whole idea here is to dress it up using some CSS. Now, maybe what I should do is I should give you a quick tour through this table. As you can see, it's really just making use of a lot of the table elements that we've already seen. We have a bunch of table rows, and you might want to go through and count them all up. I don't know exactly how many rows we have in there, but there's a whole bunch of them. Now, some of the cells inside the rows are actually table headers. For instance, statistics. If I flip back over to my browser, this is not a table caption. It's actually a header row. That's why it appears in bold there. And a lot of the other rows are simply containing cells, TDs all the way down. And some of the cells are completely empty, for instance. But it looks like we, by and large, have 3 columns or 3 cells inside every single row all the way down the table. Before we get to the CSS portion, though, there's a couple of additions that I'd like to make to the HTML. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the opening table tag, this guy here, and I'm going to throw in a width attribute. So this is not CSS, this is HTML. So I'm going to go width equals, and then in quotes, I'm going to go 225, just like that. So that's 225 pixels. And then I'm going to make sure that I don't have a border on this guy by going border 0, just like that. And then I'm going to do cell spacing equals 0. Make sure you have that in quotes there. There we go. And I'm also going to do cell padding equals, and then in quotes 0, just like that. Okay, I don't think that'll make a very radical change inside our document. You can go and refresh and check it out there. Some of the spacing collapsed there for us, which is fine. Now, the only other thing that I want to do is on this statistics table header, this guy here, I actually want to insert what's referred to as a call span. And you might know about this. I could get into explaining exactly what this is, but I want to focus on the CSS. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to look for this table header opening tag, this guy right here, just before statistics, put in a space, and I'm going to go call span equals, and then in quotes, I'm going to say 3. Okay, so that's basically going to span this statistics cell right across the top of my table. If I refresh, there you go. So now statistics is centered across the top of the table. Okay, wonderful stuff. So we have the raw structure now in place. We're now ready to start applying the CSS to our table, and we'll continue in the next exercise, and I'll show you exactly how to do that.